So what's on the agenda for tonight? What are we serving up? What's on the menu?
You know, I often look for paranormal news when I don't have anything solid that I want to cover, or you haven't picked on something that you want to cover. I usually come up empty-handed. It's usually full of stuff, but it's always garbage. But I was looking the other day, and boy, I found a bunch of interesting stuff that we can talk about.
Do go on.
A lot of it's from late last year, 2019, and some from this year, but I don't know. Every time I look up paranormal news, it's always the same old, kind of like YouTube top 10 shit, you know?
Are there any pterodactyls?
I came across some. See, and that's far and few between.
Really?
Yeah.
I love pterodactyls.
Big old rash of dinosaur sightings in Texas lately was one of the things I came across.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's incredible. I did not know that. I love dinosaur sightings so much. They make me so happy.
Me too. And it's we've talked about Mukele and Mbembe before, and we covered what's the ones in Papua New Guinea, the ones that the ropin that light up.
The
right?
ropin, yeah.
And those are cool, but there's so many more sightings. Good Lord.
Was that a robot dog fight that I just heard?
That was a race car.
Wow, it seriously sounded like robot dogs attacking each other.
Yeah, at first it sounded like an apocalyptic giant robot was sounding its death horn. But yeah, but there's so many other cultures that have their cryptids that are described as just dinosaurs. I love that. I loved seeing the temple engraving. I think it's in.
It was in. Are you talking like the really, really old one that had the Stegosaurus?
Yeah.
I think that was Babylonian. Or maybe it was Assyrian. I think it was Assyrian. I don't know. I can't remember. But it was one of the two.
It's one of my favorites because if you go to like medieval writings and they're talking about dragons, they're described as big lizards and breathing fire and artistic depictions.
Yeah, but is it possible that maybe they just also discovered the bones and just assumed what it would look like, just like our scientists do today? They're like, oh, well, look, the way that the skeleton is arranged, it's got a humpback, it's got plates. This is probably what it looked like.
Most definitely, but there's plenty of writings of knights and shit like that going to fight dragons in that time. So one thing I always think of is they talk about a big lizard or reptile. I mean, if you look at what a normal lizard is, an alligator's a big fucking lizard, but you see depictions of huge red-colored fire-breathing dragons, and every culture has their dragon, and then you see some, old engravings, wood engravings too, where they're smaller, like elephant size, or like a really big crocodile, so it gets a little bit more believable or understandable, I guess. But in that engraving, there's no if, ands, or buts. It's not a giant lizard. It's not a giant reptile. It's a stegosaurus 100%. It looks like it came out of a kid's coloring book of what a stegosaurus looks like.
It is very, very close. But I don't think that it's evidence that an animal like that existed at the time. It could have just been one of those things where they found the bones and they're just like, well, this is definitely a monster that existed at some point in time, so we're going to put this up here with these other mythical beasts.
Well, they were fucking spot on then. Congratulations to that stone cutter guy.
But really think about it, though. Like, is it really that astounding that they were spot on when we did the same exact things when we discovered the Stegosaurus bones?
No.
And we're like, well, let's draw it. It's just kind of... I think it's just human nature to be able to determine what the body would have looked like based on the skeletal structure. And we're still not fully accurate because who knows what the musculature looked like. We can assume, but we don't know for certain.
Yeah, I was reading somewhere that they're starting to take back the statement that dinosaurs had feathers.
Really?
Yeah.
I was so sad when T-Rex had feathers. I'm like, no.
Yeah. It bothered me as well.
Then I just pictured him looking like a macaw or something, just all brightly colored, like, hello, I'm T-Rex.
Yeah, being a kid and watching Jurassic Park and seeing them represented a light to where they're supposed to be as realistic as possible. Just their chicken-like head bobbing was a little bit disappointing when it came to the raptors, at least.
Yeah, but that makes sense because the raptors that we have today, even chickens that we have, chickens are the closest bird that we have today to dinosaurs, which is weird because you look at fucking like an ostrich or an emu, and they look like dinosaurs still. Their big ass feet and fucking claws. God damn, they're terror birds.
Yeah,
they're so scary. Like if I had one of those birds chasing me, holy fuck, man. Just duck and cover and pray they don't eviscerate me with their talons.
Well, one of the first stories that I came across that I found interesting comes from March of last year, and it comes out of Japan. There's a ferry boat. It had 121 people on it, and it was just going back from one small island, Sado Island, in the Sea of Japan, and it was doing its normal rounds, just ferrying people back and forth. It was more of like a sightseeing type of leisure thing instead of getting people from one place to another. Out of nowhere, it collided with some type of unseen thing, and some people on the boat claimed that it was an actual marine creature, but the collision was so hard that it had 121 people on it, and it injured 80 people, and it left a 15-centimeter crack on the stern of the boat. Now, I don't understand why they would associate that with a sea creature, possibly because there was nothing there. There's suddenly something there, and then suddenly nothing there.
What if it's a cloaked USO instead, though?
Very well could be. I'd almost be inclined to buy that. I mean, if it was able to hit that boat that hard, you would think that any type of animal, no matter how big, would receive some type of injury.
I don't know. Maybe, unless, what if it was like that giant mythical sea turtle that has an island on its back?
Yeah, from like Stephen King books.
And D&D. Just a giant fucking... Wasn't there a movie in the 80s about a giant sea turtle or a giant turtle that was like a killer turtle? Like kind of like a Jaws type thing, but with a giant turtle.
Holy shit, I don't know about that. I know about the giant turtle in the Never-Ending Story, but he wasn't that pissed.
Yeah, it wasn't that. No, this was like an actual like monster movie.
No, but I'm interested. Angry Turtle.
I can't remember. Yeah, I wish that was the name of it. I've got a vague memory of it from when I was a kid about this giant turtle attacking a ship, and it was, I'm pretty sure it was a 80s movie.
Had to have been.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember watching a lot of giant monster movies and things that were similar to that when I was a kid.
So what do you think, Mike? What do you think about when you hear a report like that? I mean, they're saying it was a sea creature.
So there's actually witnesses that are saying they saw a sea creature, but they weren't able to describe it, or are they just assuming it was a sea creature because they crashed into something and they didn't find anything, and then it was there and gone?
I believe they're assuming.
Well, that just makes an ass out of you and me, you know what I'm saying?
I agree. But what would they have hit? This is a route that this boat takes many times a day, every single day.
Who knows? It could have been any number of things.
But to crack the hull of a ship like that?
Yeah, I mean, that seems like it'd be something that's pretty high in... You motherfuckers. Fucking life with cats. It seems like it would be something pretty high impact, but what if it was like a cloaked USO type thing?
Yeah.
I mean, if nobody actually saw a sea creature and they collided with something solid enough that people were injured and the boat was cracked, like that's some serious business.
Yeah, they said there were some severe head injuries. They were talking to this one person who said they were sitting there and all of a sudden their throat was hitting the seat of the chair in front of them and they were passing out from being hit so hard. They said whatever they hit, it was mega violent. And I've been in a boat, a small fishing boat, and you pull up to land and just the slightest bump is very dramatic. It's very violent feeling. So I don't know if anybody has a boat that's listening. What do you think could cause a crack to the hull, a 15-centimeter crack to a boat in the middle of the ocean? But yeah, I think I'm going to go USO with that one. I agree with you.
Yeah. I wish it was a giant sea beast, though. I want giant sea beasts to be a thing that's real.
You're in luck, buddy. That's the next story that I found.
Yes, giant sea beast.
Yes, sir. From January of this year. The headline reads, "Bigger than a submarine, deep sea researchers film gigantic primeval shark." Now, there's a video to this, and I'll put it in the show notes so you guys can click it and watch it with us. But Mike's never seen it, so he's going to watch it right now.
Is that a Greenland shark?
I read in one of the comments on this article that it's called a six-gill shark. It's not ancient, but it does live very, very deep down, never comes up.
Yeah, their sub is small, so this is like a 20-foot shark probably.
If you look in the comments below, Mike, you'll see somebody puts up a picture of what type of sub they think they're in, but there's 3 people in this sub. And the one they show, I don't think that one fits 3 people.
No. Well, I mean, even still, it's likely not a very large, like it's not a military sub, so it's not going to be this huge fucking big thing that's got to carry torpedoes and shit.
Right.
It's a little science sub. But these sharks, the 6-gill sharks, they can get 25 feet long. So they're big ass sharks, man.
Yeah,
that's really fucking cool footage. Like I'm not downplaying that footage by any means, because that shit is awesome. But I want scarier, bigger sea beasts. I want the Kraken. I want like giant sea serpents with dragon heads. I want Cthulhu. I want Godzilla. That's what I want.
We may have something close. We're going to skip the line on this one. This one's from March of last year. The title says, "Fisherman finds giant shark head bitten off by even larger creature." And this one caught my eye because we talked about that documentary. What was it called? Search for the Unknown Super Predator or something? Where that big
I think it was Search for the Super Predator, yeah.
Yeah. Now this one just has a picture of it, and we'll put the link for this article in the show notes so you can check out the picture. Geez, that's a big old shark that this kid's holding up, and it's just below the fins, like the head that he's holding.
Yeah, has
the fins, the gills, and then the front of that shark. But it looks like 1 or 2 clean bites did that. What do you think about that, Mike? Because like you were saying, with that 6-gilled shark, they get to 25 feet. So 20 feet, because it's what they estimated that one in that video to be, 20 feet. That's okay. That's a 6-gilled shark then. But as far as a great white goes, I think 20-foot one, that's fucking crazy.
Well, this isn't a great white shark, though.
No.
It's a mako.
Well, that's a pretty big fucking mako, man.
Yeah.
They said the shark's head weighed 100 kilograms.
Like, this isn't a great white shark size shark, and a great white shark can get almost 2 times the size of a mako shark. So I don't think it would be out of the realm of possibility to have a really big, hungry great white take this out. And if not a great white, I could see it being a killer whale, because killer whales have been known to kill great whites, and they also hunt seals. So why not take out a mako if they were to see one?
You know what? That's a great point, dude. I think that a killer whale could deliver that type of damage. And if you're thinking, looking at the damage to this shark, we need something that's 25, 30 feet long. And then you think of a killer whale, you got it.
Yeah. I think jumping to, like this article does, jumping to, could it have been a surviving megalodon that ripped off the mako shark's head? Like, come on, that's just silly. You guys are being silly. But what if it was the megalodon?
An ancient alien shark.
Oh, I want it to be an ancient alien shark. I want to live in a world where all sharks are aliens. They're all descended from aliens. Like one day it just started raining sharks from the sky. That was like the attack from whatever planet it was, and just by coincidence the sharks were able to survive through jetting through the atmosphere, and they plunged into the oceans of the earth, and there they repopulated, and then they've evolved over time to become all these different species of sharks, but they're really descended from these alien shark missiles sent from some distant planet.
As long as they land in the ocean, I'm good. If they come on land, I'll be there to fight them or jerk them off.
Yeah, we do know you're good at that.
I do what I gotta do.
Yeah. How are those calluses, by the way?
Hard as stone.
Yeah, ribbed for their pleasure.
We're going to skip around this list a little bit more, Mike, because this is one that was sent to us a few times by a few different people. And it was a few weeks ago, and I was surprised to see it make its round to a few other websites and people not really have an explanation that sounds good for this yet. Okay, this comes from Sioux Lookout, which is in Northern Ontario. There's a video of it. Again, we'll put it in the description in the show notes so you can check it out. Have you seen this footage yet, Mike?
No, I have not. This is also new to me.
All right, then I really want to hear what you think about this, because this is terrifying. Check this out.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Dude, that is some terrifying sounding shit. I gotta say.
Yeah, but it doesn't sound completely inhuman, though.
No, it doesn't sound inhuman, but I don't think any human's getting that loud or sounding that animalistic. I mean, I'd almost buy a giant speaker system blasting some altered audio than some dude standing out there doing that.
Yeah, it just sounds like some kind just really loud.
I think it sounds a little bit more scary than that.
Well, yeah, I mean,
not just your impression.
I can't do a full-on Bigfoot yowl, scream, howl.
Now, I think somebody sent me this video. I just sent it to you, Mike, on your phone. This is a bobcat scream, and it's fucking pretty terrifying too. But it's a lot different than what they're showing in that first video.
All right, let me give this a listen. Yeah, that shit is fucking terrifying right there.
Yeah, that's a mountain lion. I'm sorry, but you see how loud that is? I mean, that's got to be an animal to get as loud as that.
Animals make crazy noises too. Like I told the story of my deer encounter that scared the shit out of me. I had no idea deer could scream. And I've got this deer over there just screaming at me, just like a fucking demon. I had no idea. I was expecting to get the Jersey Devil to come flying out of the woods and take me away.
How long did you think that this is how I die?
There wasn't a time where I thought this is how I die. I was very concerned though. I'm like, because for one, I know that sometimes weird animals roll through the area. Like I had a fucking, like I live like probably an hour and a half, 2 hours from the mountains, but we had a black bear roll through, like literally around the corner from my house, I think last year. And we've had a couple miles away, we got a wolf on trail cam. So we get some crazy animals that roll through here sometimes, and I just hear this sound, and I'm not expecting it to be fucking deer. When I hear a monster noise, a deer is the last thing on my list when I hear a evil blood curdling scream. And then I shine my flashlight, but my flashlight's not bright enough to see what it is, so I just get the eye shine from like 5 or 6 feet off the ground. I'm like, oh my God, what is it? It's a hell beast. I know it is.
It's Flatwoods.
Yeah, I had no idea. I would, part of me was definitely hoping it was a cryptid, though. I'm like, man, I hope it's a cryptid, and I hope it's not one that's going to destroy my life.
Honest to goodness, I think that video, the first one, I think that's audio recording of a dog man.
Really?
Yes.
You're thinking that it's the dog man.
Yeah, I think that it's a little too canine sounding to be a Bigfoot. I don't think a Bigfoot would be screaming his ass off like that. Those guys like to try to hide. I think that was a dog man. Maybe injured, or maybe...
Was that do you know any of the story surrounding it? Like that, because it sounded like there was another sound that could have maybe been a little kid. Like, was it a family hike or something and there was a little kid with them, or was that something else calling back to the screaming dog man?
It says here in the article, sorry for destroying this name if I do, Genomikus. They said that they were on a hunting trip. He says, quote, "We walked down this trail for maybe 10 to 15 minutes. We walked down and then turn around and we're walking back to our vehicle. And about 500 meters from our vehicle, that's when we started hearing the screaming." So they had reason to be out there. They just weren't out there dicking around. There was a baby there. I kind of like the fact that the sound of the baby was in there, because it would be really difficult to keep that baby's voice sounding natural and blending it in with some type of scream like that. Definitely possible, but to mix it all in, the background noise, the ambient noise, the baby. I mean, even the screams sounded good. They sounded like they belonged in the area where they're coming from. You can hear the trees deadening the full volume of that sound.
But wouldn't you be able to get that effect if you had a speaker out in the woods? Or if they were like somebody was playing this sound from their car audio and they had it cranked way up?
Some speakers, yeah. I think that sound is louder than your average car stereo.
I've seen some crazy car stereos, Mateo.
Me too, but I've never heard any blast some werewolf sounds through it. So I don't know.
Oh man, then you haven't lived, my friend.
Either way, I honestly think that's a dog man, or maybe even a lichen, somebody transforming into something like that as sunset.
Nah, I just think it was somebody fucking around.
Maybe.
Or maybe, just maybe, it's the sound of the elusive and much sought after mating ritual of the barn owl.
Ooh, that's some horrifying shit. If a bird made that sound when it wanted to hum.
Oh yeah, that's the sound of ecstasy, Mateo. That's true love. You haven't lived until you started making those noises.
You would know, sir. I do not mingle with barn owls.
You're goddamn right. I mean, so I've heard. I walk in some strange circles sometimes, Mateo. Don't worry about it.
I got to, for the sake of the podcast.
What I do in my own time is none of your business. Get out of my life.
All right, so one of the things that I found that I was most interested in is this YouTube video about the best Bigfoot videos. There's tons of those, but there's some clips on this video that I've seen before. I've talked about it before. I may have even put it in the show notes, but this is years ago. It was just a little compilation of what I thought was the most authentic Bigfoot clips I've ever seen. I didn't think any of them were CGI. Mike, you talk about the section of the arm from the elbow to the shoulder being elongated, how that would be more difficult to fake, and I pay attention to that. These creatures are all huge in these videos, and I just love these things. I've been looking for them ever since, and I just can't find that particular video anymore, and there's some clips on there that I've never seen anywhere else. But this video that I found has some of them on there, and again, a bunch that I've never seen before. And I don't think these are CGI or graphics. If I think whatever's there is actually there. This could be people in suits. Sure, you can say that. But we're going to watch this. Again, it'll be in the show notes so you can check it out too. And I'm going to pause the video, Mike, in between each clip, just so I can get your impression on them, because like we've haven't gone too deep into Bigfoot, other than exposing the fact he has a time traveling belt buckle. No, a dimension hopping belt buckle. Sorry, jeez.
Maybe both. Who's to say?
Yeah. But let's check this video out, and again we'll stop it after each video. Okay, so that's the first one. It's called the bow hunter, I guess, bow hunter footage. What did you think about that one? That was definitely weird. That was a big old animal.
I mean, it looked good, but it was so brief and mostly covered that it's really hard to say exactly what that was. Like it did look good. Like it wasn't an obvious fake, but I would be hesitant to say that that's definitive footage.
I think that the guy's reaction looked a little bit rehearsed too.
Yeah, I could see what you're saying.
Okay, but definitely not CGI. Whatever's there is there. I don't.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. The second one here is called the Independence Day footage, and it starts at 36 seconds if you're watching along.
Okay. No.
You don't like that one?
Nope.
Why not? Even the baby moved.
So what?
You think someone's going to dress their baby up as Bigfoot?
Yes, I do.
What baby do you know would sit for that? What baby do you know that wouldn't be shitting its pants?
Why would a baby shit its pants if its mom's holding it? It's
not if it's got a Bigfoot costume on, a gorilla costume.
And
it's not a. I don't think it doesn't look like a gorilla.
No, it's not. No, but for one, the way it walks like a person. For two, there's nothing to show really how big it is. For three, it just like pops up out of nowhere and it's like, hey, let me shimmy across here holding my baby. And the guy's just calmly like, do, I'm just going to film right here. And he just happens to be filming as it crests the hill. Like, no, 100% phony bologna.
I don't know. I read a little bit about that one when I saw it years back. And he said that believes he startled it. That's why it sprang up. He wasn't making too much noise. He wasn't talking. He wasn't making a fucking vlog or anything. He was just tracking along.
Yeah, but I don't know. It doesn't make sense why he would be like. I would like to see the footage leading up to that. Like, are you filming your entire trip, or did you just conveniently happen to turn your camera on when you were cresting the same hill that a Bigfoot and her baby was cresting?
Right.
You know, and just the way, seriously, the way it walks it walks like a person. There's nothing Bigfooty about the way it walks.
She even cradled the baby's back, very motherly like a human woman.
Yeah. I don't buy it.
All right. Next one is called Sasquatch Spotted in the Remote Mountains of Mission, British Columbia.
All right. That one could be anything. It's so far away.
I mean, that could be a drunk dude in a suit.
It could be a dude in a ghillie suit even. Like, it doesn't even have to be a good suit. It's so far away.
Right. I agree. Okay.
So far, I'm let down by these 10 best alleged Bigfoot clips.
All right. The next one is very interesting. I'm interested to hear what you have to say about this one. This was called the Provo Canyon Rock Thrower. Yeah, that lady who's filming sounded authentically scared, and when that thing stood up, it was awfully big. If you don't think it was tall, that thing was awfully wide.
Yeah. I don't know. Again, it's not anything that strikes me as being 100% authentic. It's clearly something there, but you don't see enough of it to even determine whether or not it's a costume or the actual thing.
No, I don't think any of these are 100% authentic. I've got to have longer clips than that, but it's just as far as these being impressive, rather than the normal just digital face behind some bushes bullshit that people try to pass off now.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of Bigfoot footage is unfortunately like a lot of ghost footage where it's just, it could be any number of things. There's nothing definitive, which is unfortunate because I love Bigfoot and I want something that's going to be like the Pedersen Gimlet footage. Like that one, to me, it seems authentic. It seems convenient that he was able to get the footage and I will wholeheartedly admit to that. But to me, it seems authentic, and there's enough people that have, like, for instance, Dr. Jeff Meldrum, who's a doctor in anthropology. He has come out and said that he believes the Patterson-Gimlin footage is real because of the way that the foot moves while it's walking and the way that the body is postured. He was able to identify specific muscle groups as they're moving, which you wouldn't be able to see with a costume. And he also points out the length of the shoulder to elbow.
At the end of this video, there's that footage, and there's a new stabilization and clearing up they've done. I think you'll be stoked to check it out.
Yeah, dude.
All right, the next one is called "I Think I Saw a Skunk Ape. Please Help." Now, this one is real quick.
This one sounds like a fucking Reddit post.
It sure does, but I want you to pay attention to this thing's movement. It's pretty weird, pretty interesting. That one's a little scary. That thing was doing something. It reminded me of like an 80s Stephen King clip.
I don't know. See, like these are all, they seem all the same to me. Like you get something that's mostly obscured, that looks vaguely hairy, and you can't tell what the fuck it's doing. You just see the movement and like a head and maybe a shoulder or something, and it's just, what's it doing? And then the second you get a full view of it, the camera turns away and cuts. Like this one, it stands up and then the camera cuts away. So you don't even really get to see it move. You don't get to see much of it. You just see this fucking thing stand up, and it's, I don't know.
Yeah, I gotta say that
it could be anything again.
Yeah, I agree. I think that we've talked about before. I would never go out into the woods looking for Bigfoot. If I did, and I caught a Bigfoot doing whatever that thing was doing, it was trying to rip at that tree. It was tugging on something. I don't think that I'd be able to stop filming if it stood up. I don't think I would turn the camera away.
You got to walk up and ask it if it needs help.
I don't think I would do that, but I think I would start running at it and screaming it and trying to scare it before I would turn around and run.
Go befriend Bigfoot. Be like, dude, let me help you out.
What you doing there, buddy? Making a house?
Could you use an extra set of hands? I'll help Bigfoot. Come on. Give it up for Bigfoot.
I don't think I would. I think I would risk injury before I would turn away as soon as it stood up, like most of these clips are showing. But who knows? Fear could take over. I mean, like I said, they stand up. Some of them are pretty big. I don't know. Who knows? But if I was out there filming and I caught that, like that one in particular, he films it for a few moments there. It's something odd. It shouldn't be there. He's talking about a skunk ape. We know he's talking about what's like Southern America. There's not supposed.
The Florida's the skunk ape.
Okay. I guess that's Southern America, but I guess no monkey should be there. So if I walked up on that, I think I'd be all in. I'd be like, I think I would yell at it and chase it, just to be able to get its reaction in closer footage, and then promptly shit my pants and pass out.
I believe that.
Okay, this one's called "Today Buffalo Arrive at Old Faithful Geyser." Now, I've seen this one before. I think it's, God damn it, why can't I think of his name? Thinker Thunker, the YouTube channel, Bigfoot guy, covered this one, I believe. I don't know. I could be wrong. But this one's very weird. And I don't know. I may detect a little bit of CGI in this one. Tell me what you think about this one. First thing about that video is at the end, it backs out of this massive zoom. The interesting thing is that wherever they're filming, the location that's in the footage, they're in the middle of fucking nowhere. There shouldn't be any people there. But I will say that those entities that walk from behind those trees and cross that valley, if you compare them to the size of those buffalo that are there,
they look bigger.
They're like 25 feet tall or something.
Yeah, I remember seeing that video a few years ago. I think we might have even talked about it on the show one time.
I think we did, but This version of the footage, I don't remember seeing this. I remember them seeing more off to the right and walking maybe down the ridge of that mountain. So I think this is different footage.
Yeah,
of the
I
same.
think there's a longer version of it, because I do remember it was a pretty long piece of footage, and you see him like walking the whole way, and that seemed like it was interesting footage. But again, it's so far away. Who knows what it is, or if it's even, when it's that distance away, it could be CGI, and you would have no idea.
That's true, but dude, can you imagine being the dude looking through your super cool scope camera, filming that shit and just seeing 4 entities like that, just humanoid or not? Let's just call it a fucking shadowy figure.
Just a big, tall, shadowy. Maybe it's a giant walking tree.
Maybe it's the Gray Man of Ben McDewey.
Oh shit! The Gray Man is back.
Yeah. All right, there's 2 more, and like I said, one of them's the Gimlin footage, but it's got that new stabilization and shit. But let's cover this last one. This is the weakest video in the bunch, I think. I think this is set up. I think the camera shot. Why are you filming your friend's
totally
feet?
Lame.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's the less said about that one, the better.
Okay, moving on. Bigfoot in Provo.
All right, I really like that a lot.
Me too.
And again, you can't tell what it is, but I just love how it starts off. Trying to get more footage of the Sasquatch.
Now, see,
good.
The scenery that's there, Mike, I got to admit that it makes me think of someplace close to you probably looks like that. That seems...
Maybe. To me, I thought it was probably Colorado or something, but I mean, there are Bigfoot reports from the Adirondacks, but that didn't look like the Adirondacks to me.
But I'm just saying that there's that site, that scenic view, that type of landscape is probably not as foreign to you as it is to me, correct?
I think that would be a good assumption, yes.
Is that a super safe place for a person to be climbing like that, just willy-nilly, no equipment? You can tell they're not tied to anything. They're walking freely.
I mean, who's to say, really? If maybe it's not as steep of an incline as it looks from the ground.
But with snow everywhere like that, I mean, that person's risking life and limb to pretend to be Bigfoot.
Yeah. I mean, it did seem pretty remote. And I really liked because to me, usually I feel like if people are faking things, they're going to try to like overdo it. Like, oh my God, it's a Bigfoot. We're watching Big. This guy's just like, I'm trying to catch more footage of the Sasquatch. Like just like, this is cool. I'm trying to get it on, not instead of a like fake surprise / excitement / fear, whatever.
I like the guy's reaction too. I have to agree with you. He doesn't sound overly excited or practiced or anything like that. He sounds like somebody who has seen that thing 3 or 4 times and feels the vindication of finally fucking filming it.
I also like how he kept like zooming out so you could get a scope of the area and just how big this thing was in comparison to the surroundings.
Yes, I don't like that it's that far away, but if I'm looking at far away Bigfoot footage, that's how I want it to be. He did everything he could. He panned around the surrounding area to show everything.
Yeah, that's the best one of the bunch so far.
Now, this one is my favorite one. I watched a YouTuber break this down. I think, again, it was Thinker Thunker. And in this clip that you're going to see, Mike, I want you to pay attention to the left because they'll go over to the right of the screen a couple more times. And I'm bummed out to see only this much of this clip there because there's a lot more. And this one had people shocked because there's a few things about this that are almost undeniable, but it's called Oil Workers Record a Sasquatch Throwing a Tree. Okay, Mike, if you want to rewind that one and look at it again, I want you to look at that thing that throws this tree. It throws it maybe 40 feet in the air with one arm. He javelin throws this thing. It is fucking crazy. There's not too many people alive who can do that.
Yeah. That is a weird one.
The original footage I saw this, it was yelling and jumping around and making a commotion, trying to intimidate those oil workers. And then it threw that tree and just, I mean, how high he threw it, how far he threw it. It's almost inhuman.
Yeah, and that's one of their things is throwing throwing branches and rocks to kind of warn people or try to scare them away. You know, when we've talked in the past about Bigfoot encounters with people in cabins in the woods, a lot of times that's what will happen when you motherfucker.
They're on one tonight. Did you give them coke?
No, I don't know what the fucking deal is. It's pissing me off though. But they always attack and throw like fucking branches and sticks and rocks on the roof, trying to scare people away.
Yeah, I like that footage. To me, that's one of the most convincing pieces of Bigfoot footage that exists. And like I said, the last one's the Gimlin footage. Mike, if you want to watch it just to see the new stabilization, we already know what you think about it, and we're in agreement with that one.
Yeah, I haven't seen it stabilized like that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Classic swinging Bigfoot memories.
Yeah. She doesn't care. She's like, stop looking at my titties. I'm just trying to walk through the woods.
She's a nature girl.
Yeah. She's just trying to get some sun, and fucking some assholes with cameras and horses roll up, and she's like, oh, gotta get the fuck out of here.
A couple other videos that I found that I wanted to talk about was one that comes from June of 2019, and it's from Lake Okanagan, and the OgoPogo sea monster is supposed to be filmed. And I'm not impressed with this one, Mike, but I want you to watch the footage because this is your classic, I don't know, the best way to describe it is floating log. You know, we can talk about different shapes of UFOs and all that shit, and I think you can do the same with supposed sea monster footage. And to me, and Joe Nickell did a good experiment that I've talked about before. And to me, this looks like a floating log. But I want you to watch this one in reference to another video that came out of China about a sea monster that was filmed. And this one is crazy, but...
Yeah, this isn't anything, well, that impressive at all.
Not at all. I want some sour wine footage. But this other video that comes out of China, this was supposedly filmed along the Yangtze River, its longest river in Asia. But check this one out. This is weird. It reminded me of the sour wine footage. This looks like a creature, whatever it is. It looks like a living creature in the water for sure.
I'm not convinced it's even anything alive.
Really? I think that thing's mega convincing. It looks very, it's moving very naturally. It looks like a living organism.
Yeah, but if it was like some sort of tubular debris or just something long, like a long strip of plastic or something that got caught in the current, because you can see it kind of follows the wave, and I don't know, but in some of the shots, like, or some of the angles it takes, it looks like there might be a head attached to it, but I don't know how much of that is just our brain seeing things that aren't there.
Dude, I'd start at 136 of that video, and this thing definitely moves its tail with sentience. It's to me, it moves too far side to side, and if you look at the water, it's going against the current.
Yeah, but like the robot lady said, there are Burmese pythons that are in the area, and they estimate that thing is 10 feet long, and pythons, I believe, can get up to 20.
Absolutely. Now, I've seen footage of pythons swimming, and they do not look like that. They pretty much just keep like their head and maybe 6 inches after that above water. They leave a long V trail in the water. The rest of their body pretty much stays below water. But this thing is keeping the length of its body pretty much on the surface. And when it starts with the panned out angle, dude, it looks way bigger than 10 fucking feet.
Yeah, it really does. And even when you zoom in on it, it looks bigger than 10 feet. And when it takes that angle where it looks like you can see the back of its head, like the way that you can see, and again, this could just be the brain kind of drawing conclusions where we see a shape and kind of try to associate it, but it looks like the head of an anaconda, like you can see the muscles on top of the head, like where the jaw would attach, and it kind of has the same shape as an anaconda head would.
I agree, but what do you think about the tail? Because it seems to fin out, like there's something protruding on top.
Maybe like a ripped up garbage bag or something.
I don't know, man. I love that footage. I think that's super impressive sea monster footage.
I want to see it attacking boats and eating things.
Me too. In a perfect world.
That's the type of sea monster footage I want.
Yeah, we can only dream.
Yeah, maybe someday I'll get that footage of a Godzilla monster eating a cruise ship or something.
I was playing a Call of Cthulhu the other day, and in the game, spoiler alert, it's pretty old now, but you have to kind of choose if you're going to help this cult summon Cthulhu or stop them. And I was playing with my kids, and they looked at me like, "What are you going to do?" And I'm like, "You know what? I don't know if I think I would just go through it just to be able to see that."
Do I unleash Cthulhu on the world? I don't know. Maybe he's friendly though. I just read this awesome book. It's a kid's book. You might actually like it for your kids, but it's called The Old One in the Sea, and it's about a young Howard Phillips who this black reef shows up off the coast of his village, and he goes and explores it and accidentally kicks some of these weird old coins into the water, and then Cthulhu rises up out of the water. And Cthulhu's like this big misunderstood monster who's like makes friends with him and everything, but then this old ship captain who had encountered him in the past when the stars were right starts attacking him, and they shoot him with harpoons and guns and stuff. But it's fucking awesome. I loved it. And it's just such a fun alternate take on Cthulhu, from being this huge malevolent force that inspires madness in all who behold it, to just this giant cuddly monster that lives in the ocean.
I want Cthulhu to be like the Twitter account, the Cthulhu for president.
Yeah,
I want it to be.
Choose the lesser evil?
Yeah, I want it to be like a 6 foot tall squid monster dragon in a business suit that's just mega cunning, but can make your head explode by looking at you too long.
Yeah, that's the best Cthulhu. Presidential Cthulhu.
Nobody opposes it. It just rules with a deadly black hand.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Thank you for listening to the Whatcast. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, iTunes, and YouTube. Enjoy the podcast. Get yourself a Whatcast t-shirt or a sticker pack. Who was that dude on that one episode? Try the links in Homie's page. All this and more can be found at www.thewhatcasters.com. Thanks again for listening and have a great week.